It's gonna be awkward.
2, 1. What up?
We're back.
We're back in the saddle again.
Another episode.
Another episode this week, dude.
You do the math.
We're cruising along, and we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do for our episode. And then we're like, you know what? We know what we're gonna do. We've got a life-changing event that's taken place, and I think there's nothing more appropriate of a topic than this for an episode. And I'll just quit fucking around with I'll just cut to the chase. We don't live together anymore.
Yeah, we
have for the last 3 years.
Yeah, we've lived together the last 3 years, and then this past Friday we got you out of there.
Yeah, Friday, and you're out. I mean, you're out next week, and you're going on your own journey now.
Going on my own way, and it's not like a bad thing. It's not like a negative thing.
No.
It's not like we're can't deal with it anymore, and
Each other.
Yeah, well, no. And that's what this episode is going to be about. It's going to be about our experiences living together and the funs and the ups, downs, and the all-arounds.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like somewhat of an expectation versus reality thing too. Because when we started our journey, I was just coming off of a breakup, and you had just graduated high school basically, and you're trying to get out from living at home.
Yeah.
And I was living in this apartment, and I'd asked Z to come move in with me, and he did, and that like started the journey.
Yeah, that definitely did. And it was which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit more, but like we definitely had I was definitely getting hooked up into that move. It wasn't like I was coming in paying 50-50 or anything like that. Like I was kind of coming in just kind of paying rent just to say I was paying rent kind of thing. Just make myself feel a little bit better about myself that I was paying something.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was used to not getting, like, the arrangement was that I was paying the rent there either way. And then when it was just me, like, I was definitely paying the rent either way.
Yeah.
And so, I didn't call you because I needed the help.
You needed a buddy.
I needed a buddy, dude. I just don't like being alone very much. And so, obviously call my bro.
The old Z signal.
Put out the Z signal, dude. And you
I answered.
Dude,
I answered.
And
it was on ever since.
What was the expectation for you moving in with me?
I mean, I knew for the most part what I was getting into, just because obviously we grew up so close together. As it was, like, for those that don't know, we grew up like super close, obviously only being 18 months apart. And then when we moved to Denver, and then in our kind of teen years, as you were kind of going off and playing wherever the fuck in hockey, whether it was Canada or Omaha, wherever the hell you were, that was when our time, like all the time together, kind of slowed up. But I had known for the most part, and especially as you were kind of coming back, I definitely kind of had an idea. But I don't know, I kind of had like an Entourage kind of expectation from the show Entourage, like a definitely kind of like fucking around, going golfing, doing like all kinds of like, having girls over for breakfast and like just weird stuff like that never happened.
Yeah, there was a lot of Entourage. Entourage had a big influence, I think, on like what we thought it was going to be like
really what we wanted it to be like. Just
yeah,
because when you first moved back here, and when we moved back to Arizona, and we were living at home, and I was finishing up high school, and you like had just graduated high school, we were watching that show a lot, just hanging out. And then it'd be like, damn, dude, it'd be really cool to have like a setup like that. And then just over time we just ended up, I mean, it's hard when you can't recruit, the whole gang, like the whole entourage. It's hard to really run that whole thing if you don't have a full team running all cylinders. But like, I
Well,
would say early on, we did a pretty decent job.
what was cool was like we between the two of us, we really kind of could fill the role of multiple roles
Wear
for like a
multiple
whole
hats in
group
the house or in
and
the house.
in the gang. Yeah, and we, I think that we just based it off of the fact that like the foundation of that show for Entourage was just that they're buddies doing the best that they can, looking to have as much fun as they can, doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
And that was sort of like our thought process about living together. It was like we were a team when we were. I think that's what's cool too. Is like when we started, we had like a team mentality going into it.
Yeah. Well, and I would say throughout the entire time too, like I would say that carried on throughout the entire time.
Well,
And
it's still there, but like
yeah, and still,
it's
but
what's cool is that it started with that.
yeah, for
Like
sure.
a lot of people when they have a roommate, it's just a cheaper rent for them.
Yeah, you go to your room, I go to my room, leave me alone. If
Exactly.
you take something of mine, ask.
Yeah.
Versus we kind of took the approach of like what's here is ours. It's all one,
Yep.
and then but that's where I think we started too to like actually do things together too, to where it's like we started to get on like the same eating regimen, to where it was like, all right, we're gonna go to the grocery store together, we're gonna get the stuff we know we need, and then we're gonna go work out together. And that hadn't fully started yet, but like it was just those little things that I think started that we were really just kind of like. And then too, like we got good gaming in times too at that live. Like it was fun to just be able to be in that living room and like all the things that we even wanted to do. I remember when we were younger, because it was always weird. Like we were sometimes allowed to have a gaming system in the living room, but from what I remember, I felt like our parents were really strict about it at first. We weren't allowed to have gaming in the it was in the playroom. It was in the playroom or in like the bedroom, but it was never in like the main big screen TV.
Right.
And I think like some of the times, like as we started to be, a little bit more of shithead teenagers, we probably started to move it out there a little more often. But still, for the most part, we weren't supposed to have the main Xbox and like the or the Xbox and the main TV or whatever the gaming system was.
Yeah.
So I think that was like kind of a change for us, as you had gotten that new like big TV, and then we got to just kick it or watch hockey or football. Even we were doing that a lot.
Yeah, I mean in that initial time where it was like that shock factor of like it was cool, so we were doing really well at like keeping everything up and keeping it neat. You were in a relationship and the relationship had some doggage, and then I had Ari, and just throughout all of that, like it really wasn't a suitable apartment for what we were trying to do.
Yeah, well, it was going one way at first, and then, like you said, with the dogs, because me and my girlfriend at the time had gotten them in like December, and I had lived there in November, so it was really a month. But like those dogs that were really, because when they're really young, they kind of just kept to themselves because they're so small. But once they started getting bigger, I would say like around like springtime came around was really when it started to like.
Well, by the end, what really made it bad was like it was just Blue and Ari left because you and your girl had split up and went your separate ways, and then you had Blue and she took the other dog, and then I still had Ari. And Ari and Blue just chewed up furniture. They chewed up the fucking baseboards in the apartment. It was just like we we just didn't deserve nice things.
Yeah, I mean, it was really that. It was a good lesson for us. Just having to go through that, because I remember, I don't know how fast you want to be jumping around here, but like moving out of there, it came so quick, I remember. And financially at this point, things had kind of taken a turn and we were kind of in a rougher spot. We were trying to get things like ASB Elite started and
We weren't even really to a point of like naming it yet. We had just like we were
having some other person design. We were outsourcing for a website.
Yeah, we knew that we needed to start making changes and that things needed to start happening business wise. It took me a little bit out of the field, which made the income drop quite a bit and put us in a tighter spot.
And I was working, by the hour or whatever at the time. And but anyways, back to it. So we were in that like rough spot, but we had to literally fix the entire baseboards and patch everything up within like 3 days. No, we had a week. We had about a week, but
yeah,
we knew we were supposed to be out of there, so we could have done it a lot sooner. But
it didn't sneak up on us. It snuck up on us how much work it was, but we did it, dude.
We did it.
We recreated,
sanded it down,
we painted it, dude.
Just modeled it exactly like the other ones that weren't messed up.
We recreated the baseboards, and we used like DAP and Bondo, mainly Bondo.
Bondo, yeah.
We were just
we'd sand it.
We were just handy as shit, dude. It was
we'd repaint the walls.
Yeah, we just really did a handy job to make sure that, at least they didn't judge us for how dirty we were when we were
and how just fucked up it got. That, and then too, it was nice on the move out bill. It wasn't too.
Yeah, they didn't catch it.
Yeah, they had no idea. They only got the carpets that dogs pissed on. So.
Right. Yeah, and that we couldn't have done anything about. We tried cleaning it. They lifted up the carpet and saw there was a stain.
You can see it at the bottom. Yeah.
I thought that was unfair, but
definitely unfair. But I get it. You can't have that for the next people. You got to probably replace the carpet. But
nonetheless,
we got into the new place.
We moved out. We moved into a place that we were figuring out where we wanted to go next, and Z was still not at a point financially. Like, he was still just doing hourly. He hadn't started any other side hustles that were making any money yet, but he wanted to be more 50-50 than what we were at Live, or at our first place. And Z can talk about it more, but like, there's definitely some weird unspoken expectations or perceived expectations when you're either not paying rent or you're paying like nothing, like it's obviously very little in rent.
Yeah, well, and definitely, and that's something for sure too that I want to bring up. When you're not paying 50-50, is even if it doesn't exist, even if you think about it nothing at all, me paying a little bit of rent or me not paying, whatever the case is, if you're paying less and you're not paying the 50-50, it makes it really, there's like this underlying sense of pressure or something that you need to be doing more around the house or around the apartment. You need to be cleaning or doing the dishes or doing the cooking, or like you need to establish a role of some kind to bring some kind of value,
some sort of houseboy
value. Yeah, it's just some kind of, you need to do something, because and that's just I think maybe how I feel. Like, I'm sure obviously there's people that will say, I had a brother that lived with me that didn't pay and didn't do a fucking thing, and he's a mooch.
You're just not a mooch.
I'm not a mooch. For the other people that aren't a mooch, that are in that position, you feel that a little bit, but then it kind of bugs you a little bit to where you're like, I don't want to have to be the one in that position, so let me try and get into a 50-50 position as quickly as possible so I don't have to feel that. Because even if you didn't have it at all and you came up to me like, dude, I don't care, do whatever, fucking jack off in the sink, dude, I don't care. Dude.
I would never say that. That's so inappropriate.
I know, but I think something nasty.
Yeah, no, I hear you though. It's definitely it's something that like I felt, like I would feel from you. And I might have been putting that out there, dude. Because
Definitely in that time, I'm sure you did a little bit, and I think
with Entourage, like being so much of like an influence in what we were trying to get to.
yeah. Well, and then too, you had you had a lot of rebuilding as a person to
Well, I was just
do.
about to say.
Yeah, post your relationship, and I don't want to speak for you on that, but
No, I mean, I just was really at a point of like needing to rebuild who I was. I had completely lost sight of like my my existence as myself, you
Mhm.
know, and I really hadn't, it wasn't the relationship that did that. I think it
Was
was
the
just
money?
unsolved. It was unsolved things from hockey and not feeling like I could put those to rest, and like I think there were just some issues and things that I was allowing myself to hide behind, you know, and when you moved in with me, it really forced me to be honest about certain things that like I wouldn't have probably needed to be honest about with a girl at that time, or you know, some other random friend or whatever. um you know, like there was just I I really needed to look at myself in the mirror and start to piece it back together. And something else too that actually came out of that first apartment though real quick was that you got a guitar,
Yeah.
and it was your first guitar since you were like a little kid. And that made such a that was such a game changer for your whole life and mine too actually,
Yeah.
but like just for our whole time together, it was such a big part of it.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, like I remember really not being like I remember we were just kind of starting to gym and just trying to figure it out and going like, okay. And then I remember in my head, like when I first started, I was like, dude, I got this acoustic, man. It's in this apartment and it can't be shitty, and I don't want to be the weight guy on the guitar. So I gotta learn somewhat quickly because I want you to be able to sing along or play harmonica or whatever you're trying to do to like have fun and like enjoy it to where I could, because I enjoyed doing it. So it was like, if you can enjoy it, if you can enjoy me doing it, then I can continue to do it and not have it piss you off or be
Right.
annoying in the apartment. Um,
But it was so much fun, dude. Like we would just do like all these songs that we used to love when we were kids. Then we would get into like we would try to do acoustic covers of hip hop songs.
yeah, that was fun.
Like
Yeah.
that was always fun.
But I think we got into
Um,
that though towards training camp once I got a little bit more skill because,
well, no, that was at the very end of that of the first apartment was when we
oh,
did
really?
Big Papa, and
Okay.
that was. But right before you got the guitar, like I went through a real heavy hip hop street phase, and I thought maybe that would be kind of the lane I'd settle in, and luckily I didn't because it's not. It's just obviously not fully the lane that I'm in. There's influence, and you know I love hip hop, but like you getting the guitar and us getting expanding our musical base again like helped
Mm.
me reconnect with who I am, because I'd gone so far away from all the music I liked as a kid to like going through my country phase and then going through my old country phase and then just getting roasted for that, and I was like fuck it, then I'll go into hip hop, you know, and I like hip hop and people, you know, are cool with it. So that was it. And then we got back into this and I'm into the guitar and we're getting into these all these old songs and I'm going, God, dude, like there is so much cool stuff that's out there.
Well, that's what really got me into. 'Cause I don't remember what it was exactly. There's something that made me want to start playing though. I think I had seen. I'd always wanted to play since I was a kid, and I got my first guitar when I was like 7. and then just would kind of like mess with it here and there, and then didn't start actually taking lessons until I was probably like 10 or 11. And then just with hockey and everything and being bored out of my mind, going to 1 hour lesson a week, like you just can't really learn that much in a week, or at least I feel like it's something I've had to work on, every single day with like videos or something. When you're first learning, especially, you're constantly having to look stuff up. So I really just wanted to reconnect with it. And I don't remember what it was, but I remember listening to getting into Grateful Dead. Because I got into them obviously way later. And that's when I first started listening. I'm like, dude, I want to be able to do stuff like this. And then what was it? John Mayer with Dead and Company. I saw some live thing that they were doing. And I was like, you know what? I'll just pick up an acoustic. I'm going to see, like, let me see, because I'm older now. I'm a lot smarter than I was, and technology's crazy. Like, let's just get it and see. And sure as shit, dude, you could get a used one for $60. And then that's when we went.
Yeah.
You picked up the harmonica, but then that's what got me into the blues. We started listening to blues and trying to do the bluesy type shit.
It just expanded.
So
it just
it
expanded
grew.
like our idea of who we thought we were, and it let us be free with each other to figure out like who we are and who we want to be moving forward.
Yeah. And it really helped me. It's helped me really reconnect with, I feel like it really helped me learn how to learn, like the same way that I think coding helped me learn how to learn. I don't still code, but I think the process of how I had to learn it during these times, as well as guitar, those were two things I was trying to do at the same time, knowing nothing with. So my confidence and things that I could really like learn expanded me to where now I feel like I can, learn anything if I want to.
Yeah.
And with the guitar, it just like expanded, like you said, with the music, to where it's just like, holy shit, there's so much that I've liked that I'd like to re-listen to now that I play and have a general understanding. But now there's so much more I want to dive into. I mean, I just feel like it helped me reconnect with not my younger self, my natural self, like who you come out before you learn
Where you get
how
all
to
these
be,
biases.
and you get biases and you learn morals and everything. Like when you just remember yourself at your purest state of just raw, before you really know shit. And that's what's been cool, is I feel like it's really helped me connect back to like some of those times when I was first wanting to play. And
yeah. And then, all right. So yeah, then after that apartment, we moved, like I was saying, you wanted to be closer to 50-50, and I had grown very materialistic over the years leading up to this point. And, I just really felt like I needed to make a change finally, and no better time than having you beside, because you were never as materialistic. Like it wasn't ever a big deal for you to have, whatever bags or shoes or whatever. It was just, you just had stuff and it was fine. And so then I was like, well, I think you're a cool dude, like I got to be more like that. And that mindset trickled into the housing, and I'm like, you know what, dude, let's go to whatever we can find that's very close to our gym, close to the office, whatever. So we find this place, and we had called it training camp. And the reason we called it training camp was because we had felt like we really needed to get our life in order, like mainly
physically trained,
and
mentally trained, and get ourselves like just like get us into like the tip top shape too. And like, like we've heard so many people, like success people, and at this time before we were starting the podcast, we started really listening to podcasts,
right?
And every success podcast tells you about like, you got to be disciplined, you got to have all your ducks in a row. So we were like, dude, this is our time to get our ducks in a row. Let's pay little money, let's start saving money, and then let's just go to the gym, let's just eat clean and let's just get our life in order and just start getting really disciplined in a
Chill
lot of
out on the
areas.
Instagram stories.
Yeah.
Because that was a big thing, dude. I was such a Instagram story person. Like I just didn't understand the game of social media at that time, I guess, and or how I wanted to be on there. You know,
Yeah.
like I didn't know what I was trying to do yet, and so we moved, and it like really let me figure out my lane I wanted to
Kind of
get
let that
in.
guard down.
Yeah, let the guard down and let some of that shit go that's just not important. You know, like there's a lot of stuff that I was really worried about that is just not important.
Mm-hmm.
And um you know, so that was one of them. Like where we lived, where you and I lived was not important, you know, and I finally just let myself acknowledge that, and we moved into training camp. We wanted it to be like a fight camp or like a sports training camp. You know, like you get in shape, in and out. We were looking to do it for 6 months. Ended up being a year, and it went well. From like we got in shape.
I would say, yeah, we got in shape, and I would say it went well until probably wheels started falling off the bus probably towards the end. Like once
I would say mid to end.
I would say, yeah, like close to like 10, I would say at 9 or 10 months, a little bit after the 6 month, because we wanted the 6 month. And then we weren't where we wanted to be financially at that point yet,
Yeah.
to where we could really get the place we really, really wanted, like what we were in kind of before, even better kind of thing. We could both be 50-50, and we just weren't quite there yet. ASB Elite was still kind of just still such in infancy stages.
Baby stages.
And at this point, at least, I had created a little side hustle that I was, making some money off all the agents here. So I was able to kind of help out a little more with things when we needed, and I was definitely in a better position financially myself a little bit. But there was like,
But we thought going in, we were going to be in there for 6 months. We'd be out of there with
making bank.
We'd be out of there within 6 months with 6 packs, making six figures.
Oh yeah, 100%. The
that-
triple six.
That was it, dude. The number of the beast. We thought that was what we were doing, but instead, we did lean out quite a bit.
Did
and obviously I've thickened up quite a bit.
Well, I think we've all kind of gained the quarantine 15.
Yeah, I know, but
so
there's
once I get a treadmill in the new crib though, dude, it's off, guys.
I know. I got some gym equipment coming too in our place, but yeah, we got down good weight. We were training really hard and got into a good routine with that. The diet was tough because,
well, it was good in the start.
In the very start when we were doing the keto, and
because it was towards winter that we had keto, or that I had keto flu, because we didn't start keto until probably like that fall a little bit. And then training camp with the
diet.
The diet, yeah. I mean, we got a little bit. We weren't that bad until a little bit later on.
But by the time we had gotten bad, we were training so hard and so frequently, like every day, to where, I mean, we could go to Cane's, we could go to McDonald's.
Well, and it was almost like we found this like
Rosati,
this secret.
dude.
Yeah, the dough bites,
dude.
So fucking
those little hitters, dude.
Yeah, dude. Well, that's the thing. I mean, we had almost like unlocked, I felt like, the secret to like getting our weight, like, because there's no perfect diet or perfect workout plan for everybody, but there are for certain people. So once you find that one that works for you and you just stick with it, like, and that's what I'm going to do after this quarantine 15. It's going to shed right off. And it's so funny because like people are always trying to do that, but I think we messed with so many different things during those times that we just eventually landed on it, that we found it. I mean, we've been working on this stuff and like I've been messing with so many diets and workout plans since 2012, dude, since I was in high school.
But also too, like at this stage in our lives, when we're in training camp, we really had no disposable income to go do stuff.
Yeah.
We weren't going out. We weren't hanging out with people. We weren't having people over.
True.
There was like we really kept to ourselves, and
So we're like quarantine. We've been doing that the past 3 years.
we focused on just really making ourselves better and more disciplined, and just like physically fit,
mentally too, with the, as you
how
were saying.
yeah, like we just really put ourselves through hard times. It felt like I didn't have sheets on my bed for 6 months there.
Yeah.
Like it was a messy.
Well, and there's a lot of things too. I think a lot of it we just did by choice. Like it almost seemed like we were wanting it to be more difficult, and
We just
were
needed
wanting
to put ourselves through it. Yeah.
yeah, and just wanted to feel what it was like, kind of on the other side of just like feeling like.
Well, we knew that we didn't appreciate our first apartment.
Yeah.
And we knew that we needed to learn how to appreciate it. And it was almost like a punishment.
Yeah.
Was how I was feeling about it.
Yeah, a little bit of just like kind of a course correction kind of thing, and just kind of like get your mind right in the right places.
Like when Batman's got to go to the cave.
Yeah.
It's like.
I did a lot of time reading too during then. Like I feel like I got to learn a lot and develop more as a business. I remember our expectation moving into it is we did think that we were going to have like whiteboards and like plans, and we totally thought we were going to be doing way more business wise, which it's not that we didn't, because we spent a lot of time here at the office and kind of coming in and out with that. We
were doing like 12. I mean, the thing was that I think we didn't love where we lived, and we didn't keep it clean there either, to the point of like we just didn't want to be there any more than we had to.
Mm-hmm.
And so like if we could come to our really nice office with all these nice whiteboards that we don't have to buy already up, like we would come in at 7 a.m, leave at 6, 7 at night, go to the gym, whatever. And we lived so close that like it was easy for me to run home, grab Ari, or go home and let Ari out or walk, whatever. So he wasn't my dog wasn't super
affected.
Yeah, negatively affected. He just naps and hangs out most time anyways. And yeah, so that was training camp, dude. It was
fun.
It was a time. We did a lot of music.
I feel like that's when got a lot of our music playing, so I kind of started to get a little bit better. Not really like I started to get more playable.
Yeah.
To where I could like play a whole song with the chords and everything like that. Versus before, I was just kind of learning like a couple little like chords and progressions and stuff like that. But this, we were actually really starting to like jam out, almost like we would try and do it as if it was like karaoke, to where you were singing
like
the whole thing and I was guitar.
Like we were gonna do a cover album.
Yeah.
Like if we had the equipment, we would do a cover album.
If we had to, dude. If they're like, dude, you can't do anything else but make a cover album, we're doing it.
I mean, we would have just had we had the equipment that we have now.
Oh yeah, we would have done a cover.
We would have made a whole fucking album, dude.
We would have,
but
for sure.
This is before the podcast, and so then we, after training camp, when we weren't where we wanted to be financially, we had a couple of options. We knew that we did not want to renew at where we were, dude. Like it was disgusting. And we knew we needed to get out of there, but we couldn't afford to do a 50-50 situation that was in a much better situation than training camp.
Right.
So it would have been a big time lateral move, and money still would have been tight. Like we had some real tight months at training camp where like we were real late, dude, like getting eviction notices and shit.
Yeah.
And like had, luckily we never actually had to.
We didn't have to go to court or nothing, but
yeah, but they threatened it, dude.
They threatened it.
And we certainly
we had to do it in like 7 days or whatever.
certainly pushed the envelope as far as waiting. But you know, after that point, we were like, what do we do? So we go back home to M&D's, you know, with our tail between our legs, and that's what we did. But we did it together, and you know, when we did that, it put a thing in us to where it lit a fire under us to really try to figure out how do we get ourselves into a position that we want to be in, as opposed to just living based off of what's thrown at us.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, one of the first things was that we started this podcast, and we started this podcast while we were living at home in this time of like ultimate stress on our future and uncertainty. You know, you've always wanted to do a podcast. I really didn't, you know, but I was certainly looking for an extra stream of income if they were handing one out.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely kind of a motivating factor for sure.
Still haven't made a fucking dime.
Still haven't made a dime, but you know, we're having a lot more fun with it now.
Having a lot more fun with life and the show.
This, yeah. You know, and I think, yeah, I wouldn't say that we didn't go into it doing it for the wrong reasons, because like we said, I always wanted to do it, and
I needed a release from my stresses and my shit.
Yeah, you wanted to just
verbal diary.
Yeah, just being able to talk about whatever. And I know, like, and as we're talking about it, we wanted to start something before the podcast, because we were driving around a lot.
Yeah.
And we were spending so much time just driving up and down Scottsdale Road, which is like all kinds of nice stuff and all kinds of
clubs, restaurants.
You'll see nice cars driving on. Yeah, so it just puts you in a good mindset, and we would just talk. Like, we'd be talking about things and not having to be immersed in everything and spending money there and being a part of it, to where we almost got to be like outsiders looking in. So we almost started to develop like a new kind of perspective on just life. And then on top of all of our mental training we were doing and our physical training, we were just in such a unique place mentally that we really got to be, I wouldn't necessarily say more stoic about things. We did for sure, but in this sense of it, I think almost like it's where I started to lose, like, getting FOMO. Like, I used to get FOMO, fear of missing out, right? And I would freak out if I wasn't, not freak out, but I would always want to be somewhat involved in, like, in the mix. And then as throughout that time went on, I had more fun just kind of looking at the mix, not being in the mix, just seeing it. All the way to the point now to where I really don't want to be in the mix. I don't want to live there anymore. We did all that driving through there, and we haven't done it in a while. But like, as I think about it now, it's
now
like,
that you could.
Now that I could, it's like, dude, I'm kind of all set, like, going there. I don't want to go out to the bars and I don't want to go to, you know, the bars all day Sunday and party and spend money and act like I'm this guy that I'm really not, because like, I got to go to work Monday, and I can't pretend there, else it's not going to work. And not to make it sound like I'm a psycho who can't have fun and that's what everyone's doing.
Yeah,
but
I mean, like, it's just tough. Like, we got out there a couple of times, and we had a buddy of mine that was working with us. And he was a big Old Town guy and loved to go out to the clubs and stuff. And so he got the two of us out there a couple of times, and we had fun, and you know, we would do the table thing. I'd have a good week or something, and we'd go celebrate. And
yeah, we would go with our boy Treyer too and whatnot.
Well, I was just gonna get to that.
Yeah.
Like, that would get in the mix. Like, you had Treyer, who I didn't know before, but I got introduced, and now he's one of my boys too. And yeah, so I mean, there was just a few times that we would get out there and experience the whole thing, and it was just something I realized I couldn't do every day.
Yeah, well, that was it for sure for me too. I think what really kind of opened my eyes too with it is like there would be little bumps or bonuses in our income or something to where like I would have a good week, you would have a good week, so we'd like go out and that would be like our things like all right, well we can go out now and like we'll do a table thing. So like once in a while like we would get the table and then like you would see how the other people would act at the table and you'd see how people would show up late when you invite them to the table or when they get there they drink no one says thank you and you get a fucking bottle of champagne
Or
or
they
like
bail.
or they bail and then it's just like three of you sitting there and then you're like dude like this isn't this isn't why I want to be here. This isn't
Right.
fun.
Right.
And if this is how it is, and if we're not air quote cool enough to be like that table over there that's got fucking 12 chicks and three dudes,
I mean, it was
8 bottles, then
it would
great.
never. It
But
was. I don't think it was ever be about that. Like I would just get. I would get frustrated when like we'd be trying to host
just yeah, trying to have a good night and people
trying to
not
host
making
a
it.
celebration,
Mhm.
and then like people in the clique, it's like an entourage. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
he's never bailing on someone unless it's for Sloan, but that's a different deal. Like
Different deal.
that's fine. If these guys would have been bailing for their chick, then
Yeah.
that's a different deal. But they're not. They're going for some chick who kind of looked at them a little bit fucked up, and they were just thinking they might have knew him, but
Yeah.
that's a green light, and they're off.
Yep.
Now they're
But then they're stumbling back more drunk
yeah, and then they're wanting more booze for now. They're
for a different
female
chick
friends.
that they found.
And then they've got three other ugly ones that they brought back, and it's just like now you're
Now you're out of booze, dude. And now you're like, dude, are we really gonna buy another fucking bottle on Hope?
hope. I mean, hope what, dude? You're supplying fucking the Bad News Bears at this point with a trough of tequila. And
Bad News
hoping-
Bears of fucking ball dancers.
Anyway, so that's I decided there through that phase that like that wasn't what
That
I was
life, yeah,
gonna-
for me too. I mean, I think we both had a good kind of awakening there that, I'll go out now if I'm celebrating, a buddy or celebrating a birthday or, if I get asked to go out or something like that. But it's not ever really my idea these days,
But if you-
especially now with COVID.
But if you got a big group of friends that's like in the mix and you're in the cut weekly, then and that's your thing, then that's fine. But like we only had a couple of buddies that were into it all the time, and they had their buddies that they did it with all the time. And
so
us,
here we were just,
us jumping in from time to time, like we're not equally yoked.
yeah.
Like in that deal. So it just always felt a little misplaced for us, and that's why I think
And forced a little bit, but
yeah, but I think that's why we've gotten to where we are on that. Like we
Yeah.
don't have anything against it or
Right,
people that
right.
do it. It's just not.
right.
We just don't have a group to really do it with, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of the main thing. Yeah.
and I don't want to do it all the time.
Right.
Anyway, so we started this podcast, dude. We bail out of M&D's and we move into this place that we were just in.
Yeah.
And
Place that I call home.
yeah,
Just kidding.
that you're still
Still
in
calling
for
home.
another week. But we when we were at M&D's too, another thing about there was that I had got into piano because they've got that grand piano.
Yeah.
And then I'd gotten a keyboard, like a
Yeah.
electric keyboard, piano, and got real into that. And so then when we moved into this place here, we got a little music room set up so that we could jam, together. And I'd say that for expectation versus reality, and my one bummer about this last place is that we didn't get to jam more.
Right.
But the more that I think about, like if I sit there and think about not getting to jam as much, piano and guitar, I get less sad because like you're a lot better at guitar than I am at piano,
Well, thank you.
Well, you're welcome, but like you've put in a lot more.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was
have.
playing for probably a year and a half to almost 2 years by the time you'd even picked up the piano.
Right.
So,
And so, like I can play and I can do a few songs, but like I can't just pop on and get going and
like full scales in theory quite yet.
yeah, like I'm still working. And then, with Shay coming into the picture and getting into the relationship, it was like I just had spent less time at.
Well, you definitely lose time for that kind of thing. Because I'll say this, because I remember we first moved in, we had this kind of idea and everything, and then we were living there for a while, and then we were kind of starting.
You're saying?
No, at this place.
Oh.
And we were kind of like when we first moved in, we were starting to jam together, but like I still hadn't fully started learning theory yet and the important principles that make up jamming along. Because like a lot of times people just think like, oh yeah, you just sit in a room and you just start jamming out and playing, it sounds good because you're both good musicians, but that's not really how it works. You got to find like
scales,
a key, and then once you find the key, you can build off it. So like, all right, who's building the chord progression, who's doing the lead, and it's all things I know now. But shortly after, when we were doing those jam sessions, I was seeing a girl, and then you had started seeing Shay, and then you decided to continue. Yeah. And then I decided to not because of just where I was at with everything. Because, this is awkward MMA now as we fast forward, and, things are just so busy. And I was really, picking up new positions with work and stuff like that. So
yeah, by this time we're really starting to progress work wise, and we've got ASB Elite is rolling by this point. We've got the podcast that we'd been doing for,
and ASB Elite went from me designing the thumbnails for blogs to being responsible for website design.
I mean, we really
we
had really gotten a lot done. In that short time that we were at M&D's.
Yeah.
And then in the very early parts of us being at this place,
yeah.
And we just were very, we tried a lot of the jamming, and then I just wasn't on par with.
Oh yeah, but like what I was gonna say, where I picked back up though was not to cut you off.
No,
but,
you're good. I was trying to jog your memory because you look lost.
Yeah, because so I had a lot more time, and I had a lot of time by myself. This is my first time living with you, where you had the girlfriend. You'd done it to where you'd lived with me, and I had the girlfriend.
Right.
But then now it was kind of roles reversed. So it was like I had a lot more time to just work on the things I wanted to work on. And also, too, I wanted to take a lot of this time and really like playing guitar. And I really wanted to start kind of, I wouldn't say take it seriously, but I wanted to just start getting better. And I didn't want it to start feeling so uncomfortable. I just wanted to get to the point where I could just pick it up and start jamming with you no matter where you're at.
Right.
To where I could at least be, playing something to where you can jam off of. So, I had spent a lot of time doing that, and it's just such a fun way to disconnect. So it's been a really fun time for me, I will say, as I've wanted to jam, and as we had a lot of expectations going into this new place. I will say it's been nice to take that time and really connect with those kind of things and just get better on all the things that I'm doing individually, on top of all the things that we just spent, the past few years on getting better. And your relationship is a good, healthy relationship that you get to be in, versus like before, to where whether I've been in unhealthy ones or you were in an unhealthy one, that would come into the crib, that comes in. That trouble on the home front's a real thing. And when you don't have that in this, it's been pretty smooth sailing.
Yeah,
in terms of our relationship.
Yeah, we've had no issues throughout, you and I have had no issues while I've been dating Shay.
Right. And to preface, I'll say that we've had not issues in the past, but it's just been like
It comes
up.
home, dude. Like when you're having issues with your girl,
Mm-hmm.
and and you're not, if you're having issues with your girl and you're living with your homeboy, it gets taken out on your homeboy.
Yeah.
Like
and it's also too, it's impossible to not know that something's going on. And like,
especially when they're your brother, dude. And
yeah, something's going on. So then you want to talk about it. And then it's like, you got to figure things out. So then
it's this whole therapy session.
Yeah. And then for me at that point in time when we had that, it's like I had the money issue on top of that. So it was like, you're broke and you're having lady issues. It's like,
yeah, dude, that's a really bad
what
deal.
am I, 36, dude, in some fucking sitcom?
Yeah, that was a bad deal. But like for Shay and I, it's been a nice thing, and that's made it nice for you and I because it's let us have like this last year of being together to where like we just enjoy each other's time.
Yeah.
Every minute that
it's been an easy transition too. Just kind of like it's been like a little bit of like a push up or like a layup.
Yeah, it's been like just a soft little
lay us into our next phase of life easy.
Yeah.
And
set us there.
And yeah, and hopefully now, and I think now too, we know enough with all the other things that we can really solidify everything we've worked on over these past few years now that we're on our own, actually. Because I know we talk about this all the time, where we'll be saying how we lose our discipline sometimes is because like you almost forget that you live together and you're going to see each other every single day.
Right.
Or even if it is just the two of you, and God forbid you're both single and you're both in this phase of just working and working out all these other things, you don't really care if it's that dirty because you're not trying to impress anybody. Right. So like, you'd rather just spend the time and watch an inspirational Rogan clip on YouTube, or get in a game of Chell or
Xbox.
Yeah, or watch some weird UFO thing on YouTube or just something, that we would get into rather than be cleaning or spending time doing that shit. So
and at the end of the day, dude, like we've already done it too. Like there's this thing that I think is a blocker at this point for us. That's like, we both know that we can do it. We've proven to each other that we can do it. Like get in shape. We really can do whatever we've set our minds to doing, especially if we're doing it together.
Right.
And I think that that's been like a very cool thing. And I also just really have appreciated the whole experience. Like I really don't think that I would be who I am without you, but especially without us living together the last 3 years.
I'd say the same. Yeah,
obviously you've been a big part of my life my whole life, but like getting me back to myself, like I feel like me deep down.
Yeah.
I don't feel like some version of me. I don't feel like,
something you're trying to be, or
I don't feel like I'm pretending to be anybody. It's just like, this is what I am. This is who I am. And this is why I'm the way I am, and like you were one of the first ones to accept that, if not the first, and at each phase of getting back to it, like it's been super, super helpful to have you as a partner throughout that,
Well, it's cool you say that, actually, because there's a lot of ways, like, because I always remember growing up, and I remember, thinking about things like, you got, you're a very specific way, and I know who you really are. So there's those times during those transitional points to where, like, if I would hear somebody else have a complaint about you, it would always be about something that wasn't actually you.
Right.
And it was always during that like transitional point. So I remember living with
Going
you,
through my hard time.
going through your hard times, but I knew living with you that or it was my goal a little bit to help shed some positivity or to some good finding a different way to getting out of your shell. Because I remember I had that issue in my teen years that I had such a negative attitude and a perspective on life that people just hated me and didn't want to be around me. And I remember I had to make that change. And it was just, I just felt like I wanted to help you in all those ways. You helped me get out of that time. Once it all hit down for you, I was like, man, I don't think I can really do anything. There's anything I can say, but if I can just be here and try and support you through these times and just try and work through it with you, then I know you'll be good on the other side. So, I'm glad to hear that you feel that way about it, because it's definitely
crying.
Oh, shit. Well,
You did it, dude. You did it, and I appreciate it.
well,
Shit. You know what? My only other regret is too is that like you just fucking got into movies and films like within the last.
yeah. Well, then you got that library all built up. And
I know. So you're gonna have to
up.
you're just gonna have to come over and hang out.
Try and take some advantage of this Apple TV of yours while I still got it.
Yeah,
sit in the
dude.
living room until you pick that up.
Yeah,
Like
you
it's
still
your account.
you still got the movies, but yeah, dude, it's been nothing but a pleasure.
I was just gonna say nothing but a pleasure, man. I can't say anything else.
And you'll always have a spot at the crib, and
Likewise.
you're always welcome, and
yeah, I'll have room for you.
I just love you and I appreciate you.
Love you and I appreciate you.
But like
appreciate you too, motherfucker.
The good news is that like the podcast doesn't change. We still work together. We still see each other every day, and
yeah. So nothing's
now
changed.
Our hanging out is more intentional. If anything, because we'll still be able to hang out, and we don't feel like we're having to. It's not a last supper every time.
Yeah,
to get like that's what it's felt like, at least every time. Living together, our whole life goes on pause because it feels like a last supper. So we're like, do we work out or hang out? Well, we're not gonna get to do this forever, so let's fucking hang out.
Yeah,
and that's been our mentality for, probably too long. Even before Shay was in the picture.
Yeah,
and that's why ultimately this is just a good move for the both of us. And just nothing but up from here, and we can take what we've learned the last 3 years, we can take what we've figured out, and now like there's a lot of stuff that we can figure out on our own and then help each other with. Like we're both getting into smart homing up our new homes, and it's gonna be a lot easier for us to divide and conquer that whole space if we're separate.
Yeah, because we wanted to do that in this new place right now. We wanted to do like smart home stuff and do all kinds of cool like tech shit. But then as we think about it, and as we've thought about, especially now, like there's so much setting up and it's all like per device. So like, what do you do when you move and you're in this situation that we're in now? Because obviously we knew we weren't going to live together forever. So,
well, and it's like, who's the boss of it? Like who runs it? Who's in charge?
Just a nightmare.
He's a little bit more of a techie guy, but I'm more of a controlling guy. So that would have been an issue. Like we're now at a phase to where we can divide and conquer.
Yeah.
And still have the same level of like production and results from our partnership.
Yeah, it was definitely something, in our thing. I think more so than anything, I just think during these times we really as
just
corny
need
as it
each
sounds,
other.
we need each other
That's it.
really bad to help each other through our own kind of things, you know, and whatever they may be.
Find ourselves.
And I wanted to say too was what's cool is I think we really got to like the positive attributes that we both have, they rubbed off on each other. So like the positive things about me rubbed off on you, the positive things that you have rubbed on me. And it wasn't like the negative things about me rubbed off on you and the negative things about you rubbed off on me.
Right.
Which I don't know if that was by design or luck, but I can't remember intentionally
Lord,
going like,
dude.
yeah, I'm going to take the good things that you have. I'm going to try and stay away from, you know, obviously there's I think every person has those kind of gleaming things about them that you want to avoid.
Well, we might have had just each other's best interest at heart so much that like,
yeah,
if we felt like if we did that too, like it was a support thing. Like if you did something that I picked up on, it felt like it was just a ballad of support. And so, but then it like got to the point where it's like, you know what, dude, this is a good. I'm gonna continue to implement this into my system. And so now I handle things different. I'm a lot more peaceful I'm a lot more peaceful now after having lived with you than I ever was before. And then that's another thing too. Our conflict resolution was so we learned to be very, very good when it came to conflict.
yeah.
You know, like there was a lot of respect for one another when it came to the stuff that we said, because we both knew that if it got to a physical point, it would be permanent and bad.
Yeah, it would have been
both of us. I mean, we're just like
especially when there's no one even around
there's no one to sanction it.
It just is not
it's dangerous.
It's like World War III, you know, you just shouldn't.
No, it's not that bad, but it definitely would have been dangerous to have us unhinged at each other fighting physically.
Yeah.
So we knew that was the one thing we never could do no matter what. And we knew that we were on the same team no matter what. And we had a similar end goal. We still do.
Mm-hmm.
And so it
had shifted from like, there was always like a little bit of competition. And I think there's always been on my end up until we started living with each other. And, you know, it's a hard thing because I've even had ex-girlfriends ask me, like, how do you not feel competitive or some form of resentment? Because, like, if we look back, like, when I was younger, I did a lot of times, just because if we've talked about, I'm sure, on your hockey interview or on my interview, there was a lot of times I just felt like less than in a lot of ways, just because you got a lot of attention in the state for hockey. So I'd like go to the rink and it'd be like, oh, Justin. And when you're a young kid, you want it to be about you. But when I got into MMA and found my own lane, and then I decided that I didn't want to fight. It wasn't that I couldn't, or it wasn't that I couldn't. It wasn't like I was hurt or like anything that stopped me. I just made the choice that I wanted to do something else, and I just wanted to be involved in the sport. And then you were done playing hockey. It was like we were brought to this like equal playing point for the first time, to where it was like, you know what, we're allies here. It's not a competition of like who's getting more spotlight or who's getting more attention or who's the better athlete, who's tougher. Yeah, because, you know,
who's going to make it further.
Yeah, who's going to make it further in whatever their sport is. And then it was just like, you know, who's bigger. No,
we were in the same... Yeah. We're in the same spot, you know, and in life, you know, like, and we realized...
And it wasn't quite yet when we moved in. I would say when we moved into training camp, when things did get 50-50, and then we both struggled together financially, and then we both were out of shape together and had to get in shape together, and then started doing things together and like being on the same meal plan. We just realized.
And then we got into MMA together. I mean, we were at Fight Ready together, and that was like where we really started to realize, like, all right, we for sure can't get into a fight.
Yeah,
because like just hitting mitts,
hurting our
it's
hands.
yeah. So we just realized that wouldn't be smart, but um, I think we've really done a good job of getting a lot out there for
Yeah,
how it was, dude. Because I mean, it was just the
it
best
was.
experience you could have living with someone that you're not banging.
You know what my advice is for someone that would be if someone's out there listening thinking like, damn, I wonder if I should move in with my brother or sister or like my best friend or someone like that. My best advice would be try it. Just see.
Mine too. And only
And
if you're equally yoked, though, dude. You got to go into it and respect each other and just be someone on the same page.
yeah, and you really got to have an open mind about it too. And like you were saying before, like not judging, I don't know at what point in time in my life throughout these past few years, but it's also been throughout this time. Like I can't even tell you, but I know it's the best decision I've made in my life is to not judge and to not judge situation, people, or things. Like, if you just kind of look at everything like as one and everything is it's just existing and you just kind of take it for what it is. I mean, it was my peace level went way up, and I think that made our relationship a lot better too, is because I didn't have like a ton of expectations really going into things or judgments about things that I felt like things needed to be a certain way, or if
Right.
you needed to be a certain way, if we were roommates or certain things. So I think everything just was, and we got to kind of just build each other up in this fucked up situation we were in.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even that messed up when you really look at it in the grand scheme. But there were
Yeah.
times that were weird, and
Times were tough. There were definitely some tougher times, but again, like I just don't even think about it compared to all the gaming, the success that we had in our fitness journey,
the
like just
music,
the
yeah,
music. I mean, just the whole thing, like how far we've come with our production, our brand of Weber Boys Entertainment, it's in our
yeah,
skin.
it's in our skin. Yeah, it's crazy. We
Like
got tattoos of a brand.
it's just never going away, and it all started with us living together.
Yeah,
And I'll just be thankful for the time that we've had until till the end of time, dude.
yeah.
So I don't know. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, I'd have to say that's it. I would say thank you to you, and thank you to I guess just the thanks to God and the world, I guess, of just making everything work out the way it did, just in enough of a way to be enough of just positive and negatives to make a beautiful piece of art at the end. Is something we can go back and look at, and we can look at ourselves in the mirror and then look back at the past and then see positivity and see good, because we can see the change that we've made and see the positive things that have come from it. So I think that that's been just a cool thing to really cool thing to be a part of,
Yeah, dude.
and to have it work out. So many people move in with a best friend or move in with a brother or sister, and they end up hating each other after, and then they don't ever talk, or there's something like that. So I'm blessed as shit that we didn't have that.
Yeah, like I mean, it's been a dream, and to have it go out, like to go out on a positive note to where we're still doing a podcast, we're still working, there's no bad blood. Obviously
I mean, we've owed
Shay,
each other money. We've ripped each
Shay and
other's
I,
shirts.
Shay and I are on to the next stage of our relationship, and you're on to the next stage of life, dude. Like this, you're gonna have your a master bedroom.
Yeah.
And that's something I've held you back from having.
I wouldn't say it like that, but
And well, in a way, dude, like what until we would have been at a point to where there's like a mansion and we've
Yeah.
got wings, we each
yeah,
got
because
a
I would have
wing.
always said you. I would have felt weird taking it, even if I had more money. It just would have felt weird.
It would have been weird, dude. So this is now our time to get into the next phases of our life, and I couldn't be more excited for both of us, dude.
Yeah, I'm excited too for both of us. I think we got a long ways to still go, and a lot of fun to still be had.
Yeah,
in a lot of different ways. So
yeah, dude. So, anyways, thanks for listening, you guys. If you liked it, make sure you like it, and subscribe, and give 5 stars.
Yeah, if you're listening, 5-star review on iTunes, that's always helpful. But as you guys know,
throw some kind words, whatever.
Yeah. But if you don't, we're still here. So
obviously give a shit. I think that's it, dude, for this week.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. For those of you guys just tuning in, I'm Jay.
I'm B. Fiance. Just kidding.
What?
I was trying to think of something, but it didn't come out great.
All right, dude. For those of you guys just tuning in, I'm Jay.
I'm Z.
And we're Jay-Z.
Cheer.
Ho.
I'm always trying to think of something like other than just Z.
It's gonna be awkward.
And every time I do, I fuck up.
I don't get it. You do the math.